when you're doing TeamViewer. But TeamViewer has its own recorder too. You can record yourself. Yeah, so look at that. But do both. You can even do both. You can have one screencast in the background.
You have to submit it somewhere.
Where would you submit? And you need to make a folder. Why don't you say Monday? We'll get it, huh? It's the first week, or you know? Okay. It's up, starting up. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. You're great. There's so much that I need to share, never enough time, huh? So what do I need to do? I need to go to YouTube. So what do you do in the university? Remind me.
I work for the business office, QA and training. I do QA and training for the business office.
Like what?
Huh?
Like what, for example?
I audit the staff's work and I just make sure it's right. If not, I train them on it.
And you're part of the medical school or nothing?
And then prior to that, I was part of the ethic implementation.
That was a disaster.
That's good. You either invest in training or you deal with it afterwards.
I know. I mean, it's so much. So how far are we along on
I
that?
think it's better.
We're better. I think everybody's on it. And Baskin was like one of the later ones, I remember. And, you know.
Honestly,
Let's do this.
yeah. I took like a fun class with music. Have you taken No. I was going to it. I really like it. What's it called? Do you like it? I'm in 184 right now. It's like athletic injuries. Yeah. What time is it at? 3:30 to 4. On today? No. I can do that. I just have to get that class. Yeah. I'm in first anatomy. It's 3:44. For kinesiology. Yeah. It's so cool. It's like a cool. Yeah, all of them do it. Yeah. Their first, the first summer. Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah, I figured. You can do it. Are you an exercise phase minor? You can do it as an exercise minor after like this semester. It's coded that way. So I got in. My class is literally like 5 people, including myself. And like we got like the foot and we did second yesterday. Yeah, but like we can get all the way into stuff because the guy's really proud and start to like get stuff. Yeah. Well, we have like a much research so delicate, so like we try.
William.
Yeah. It's like,
You know what, baby? Sign in. Come on this side. We broadcast here? What do we see? What do we see?
It's the same, it shows the whiteboard.
Okay, perfect.
I think it's just for like this week's assignment.
Okay. Download Ninja Trader for me there. Let's do 7. I guess let's do 7 and let's do 8. That way I'll do in the beginning and you know the beginning stuff anyway. So, you know what I mean? So you can kind of be like almost, this way it makes it more interesting for you, you know, in the beginning because we'll do the same thing.
That was my homework.
Can you do me a favor now?
Never responded. I think she's like very calm, collected, and I like my
I thought you had. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have 2 jobs here. It's my first time. Well, no, it's my first time doing this, so I'm like tomorrow's my first day. Yeah. I don't even know what I'm doing. Dr. French wants to do yeah, I know him really well. Yeah, it's such a tight community. And then I do tutoring for Bio 150, 160, which is like business classes. In English. Yeah, but which one will you do first?
I was confused, but
Can't do much of it. You're going next. I thought you were a sophomore though. I thought you said sophomore. Okay, that makes sense.
I was supposed to graduate
Okay, continue. Sorry.
What?
I got it.
Oh, great.
And
Oh, perfect, perfect. And did you download A2?
no, it's not.
Okay, so, yeah, that's good, but let's do, yeah, do A. And then you can even give, later on, you can, have you give a presentation. I don't know about today, but another day, you can do a little on the healthcare. You know what would be nice is on Wednesday, you can start working, so basically start with SMA, with some of the health sector stuff. And next week, you can go a lot further, just like, you know, read it, and you're really gonna get good at it. Okay. Start the broadcast. And am I on?
No, it's not okay.
Is it green? Perfect. Perfect. Share. everybody. Sheet of paper. Thank you. What is your name?
Sean.
Sean,
This is
right.
the smart screen paper. I'm trying to download it.
Or does it say Smart King Paper?
Yeah.
Check your email.
Yeah,
And there's a-
No.
Oh, what?
The internet's fine, so I'm not sure.
No, because you have to take
What
your
is
class
the
that
run?
you.
What is Smart
First one
King?
is like
Yeah, but maybe you can
Trying to learn like
Okay, okay, try again.
It's just a part-time
Get
thing.
an
Not
Ninja
really.
Trader.
I usually know how to say it.
Maybe don't put it. See what happens.
Dr. Drew. Alright, that's start. That's better than nothing, right?
still have the 7.
Okay, yeah, close 7 maybe. Close it and see. I just want to have the 2 versions, you know what I mean? Have you just installed, maybe open up, close Ninja Trader, you know, the website, and then enter it again.
My mom too Brazilian. No, don't look at that. It's on a
Okay, welcome folks back. You have a sheet in front of you. You had homework, right? We've done it. We'll go over the homework. You had a quiz online, is that correct? That was available too. You should have done that as well. What I'd like you to do is take your sheet of paper, fold it in thirds, like this. This is the hard part, folks. We don't got that. Here's the door. If this is too hard, fold it in thirds, right? And we're going to use it as our name tags here. John has a fancy one, but you can bring your own fancy one. I'm going on the cheap. I'm going to pass around a marker and put the name you would like me to call you on both sides, on the front and the back. Notice I have here Dr. Rush here on the front and the back this way. When you put it in the front and the back, people from the front can see you, people from the back can see you. And as, I don't know if I mentioned to you, I give this class an emphasis on class participation. So I allow you to have one bad day. If you don't want to be called on that one day, you know, everybody's had that one bad day, you can put your name tag down and I won't call on you that day. I suggest you leave that for later on. There'll be worse days than today, but you have that choice. But in the beginning, and wait, in this case, for a marker so I can see, so everybody else can see, rather than doing it in pencil. Okay? So we can set that up and you can create then a name tag and bring the name tags with you to class. Okay, so that's the first one, number 1. That'll go around. Who has a sheet of paper? Do you have a sheet of paper?
Yeah.
Okay, let's make a roll. And on the roll then, on the top, type in, first of all, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it. Emma, do me a favor, check in other classrooms if there's more black markers here. They've gotten so cheap here. We pay all this money and they don't even provide me a black marker that works, right? You couldn't? Okay. Okay, all right. So make a roll, call it BTE 450, Health Information Technology. Put the date of August, what is it, 29th, Wednesday. And put in the roll then, put in the roll columns first, last, email, phone, and you should have uploaded your first screencast. So put in here screencast. I'm going to just use SC for screencast and put upload, Y or N, and make yourself number 1. Okay? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Did we
There
find?
wasn't any, even 4 classrooms down, no.
Wow. Go to, Emma, you're in good shape. Go to the second floor. And do,
317? Okay.
okay. Wow, you were there or what?
My professor steals them.
Oh, they stole, okay, we all steal from each other. Okay, so we know. Okay, so good. So we're all stealing from each other because they don't provide us any, right? We're sitting there. Okay, so 317. Okay, and we're caught saying that. Okay. Let's get this out of the way and then we'll proceed then. So let me just go to the audit area. You can go into Blackboard. That's what we're using right now.
I can.
Oh, and wow, people are donating. How sweet is that? Okay, so people are donating as well to me. Okay, so what do I want to cover today? I want to go over basically health info systems, give a little history, state of the art, especially in the U.S., and we'll go to other countries as well. We'll talk about collaboration. And we'll do some assignments. Thank you very much for the marker, it's very nice. Okay. So, I'm going to go now, I'm in the audit section. What does the audit section mean?
A man is gonna bring you some.
A man is going to bring you something.
He's coming, he's going to his car.
And he's coming.
He's going to his
The marker
car.
man.
No, I'm a teacher too, I'm gonna go.
M squared, a marker, right? The marker man, okay. So you, Emma, you'll greet the marker man when he comes, okay? Okay, I appreciate all your help. Notice the way that I conduct this class is we're in it together. So basically we help each other and we're all colleagues of each other and none of us know all the answers, and hopefully if we don't know the answers we can reach out to our friends and other people around the world. That's wonderful to help us with the answers. Okay, so anyone here that wasn't here last time? Do I have any new people? One? Okay, do you want to introduce yourself, sir?
Just my name.
Not just your name, but give me your name, where you're from, what are you majoring in, what is your work experience, and what are your goals? How's that? Short, not a whole hour session on that.
Stand up?
Yeah, stand up, we can all see you, you have a good,
Hi, my name is Isaiah. I'm from Mineola, which is like 20 minutes away from Manhattan.
from where?
Manhattan.
Manhattan, okay, uh-huh.
I'm majoring in health science on the pre-med track, and then what else do you?
And what work experience do you have? And also, what, have you worked before?
Oh yeah, no, I worked at like a business firm. I was a secretary,
Okay.
and I worked at a factory too. So that's what it's
Okay, but you don't have any health, and you're just
No.
wanting to, okay. And what year are you?
freshman.
Freshman. Okay, so you just started. Okay. And I have some other freshmen here or no? Yes, okay. So we had some other so the freshmen can get to know each other. Because most of the people are not freshmen here. And what is your experience in technology?
None.
None, okay, that's common too here. Okay, so, welcome, and then, you'll need to get a group, and we'll see here in terms of the group, so you're the only one. Okay, so how many groups do I have here? I have 11 groups, and let me start with the first one. I have here Roy, Emily, and Emma, and then I have screencasting. Okay, so Emma and Roy and Emily. Okay. So we'll take this as an example, and John, you'll help me, okay? You're my, listen, you have back to back. This is like easy for some. Wow, look who my marker man, and this is my film guy too. He does great films. Thank you. He always gives me movie reviews. This guy is a maven on movies, so he always tells me what's playing and how it is. So here's my movie guy. He's giving me attention. All right. So one of the ways that, so we have Emily, Emma, and where's Roy? Okay, Roy, you're not sitting with the group, but that's okay. All right. So one of the things we're going to need to know is what I've said before, is there something we're going to be using in dealing with technology, dealing with development, dealing with new products, new systems, is what we call agile development. And anytime I bring up new concepts here, what do I require from you to do is not just sit around, but do what, Sean? Is to look that up as well. So when I deal with agile development, right, as soon as I bring up a term here, I should be able to see that. So in this case, what is agile development? John or Sean? You can decide. Go ahead, Sean.
Sure. So it's several like software development methodologies that can like lead to like quick changes,
Quick changes. Why do we need, great point. Why do we need quick changes in what kind of development, what did they say?
software development.
Software development. Why does it have to be quick? Who can tell me? Everybody understand the question? What's the question, Emma?
What is agile? Or I'm sorry.
Well, who can help her with the question? Before we can answer the answer, we got to figure out what the question is. Yes.
Why do we need software to change quickly?
Right. Why do we need software to change quickly?
Because we're changing quickly.
Because we're changing. I'm not changing so quickly, but what does it mean in what?
Because technology evolves every day and is changing
Well,
constantly.
basically, I have to do what?
So they can fix it if something's wrong with it?
Basically, let's think about it. Let's think about a health system, okay? Let's say we want basically to solve any problem in terms of getting quicker to, I want to make appointments, right? For my, let's say, students to go to the health center. And right now, it takes too long to get an appointment. I'm going to create a new system to do that. Traditionally, software development used to be done in a methodical way that would take maybe 6 months to a year. And what happens after 6 months to a year? If I'm in a startup, I may be out of business, right? And by the time it's 6 months to a year, I may not even work for that company anymore. So one of the things, and competition is so quick now, right? My competitors move so quickly that what do I want? I want a way to develop software that's much more concise and deliverable. So used to be information systems, people used to spend years on them. By the time they finished, either they didn't work, or it was irrelevant anymore, or my needs changed, or the environment changed. Remember how we're thinking? Think about the idea of the old way in healthcare. One of the disadvantages of healthcare. There's pros and cons. One of the disadvantages of healthcare in the United States, the disadvantage is that it hasn't been quick to use technology. Not long ago, it's been paper and files. Anybody ever gone to a doctor where they had it still on paper? There were ways in which to have the files. And not only that, how many times do you have to wait in a waiting room? Right? You have to call on the phone. You know, they're slow to move. So we need to have ways to move. The way in agile development is this, Sean. I take small groups. I do small tasks and make sure that they work. And once I get that small task, make sure that it works, then I go on to the next task. Rather than having a huge system, and by the time I finish that whole system, either I know that it doesn't work or that it works and it's too long of a time. So that's what I want us to work together is in agile development. We're in small groups. We want to go week by week. You want to meet with your groups and say, okay, for our task, where are we on the task? Where is the problem and what needs to be solved? Everybody with me? Where is the problem? And we're going to help each other get there. And we're going to announce our problems earlier rather than later. Because what happens is after, when I hear from students sometimes is, the week before the final exam. And I said, well, why don't you tell me this in week 1, right, or week 2? One of the things that I don't even like, have you ever taken course evaluations, right? When is that done? Beginning, middle, and what? After the course is over. What good is that for me? Right? If you would have told me after the first week something, I could correct it. It should be, that evaluation should be ongoing week by week. It's almost the way in which we should work, right? In terms of a work process. Don't wait until you're going to tell me you're going to fire me. Right? You're not doing your work. Well, tell me in the first week. Cut out the jokes, or whatever, So that's how I want you to work. So basically here, anytime you do an assignment, I want us to follow certain guidelines. So what we have is our guidelines here are a couple of things. What I'd like to do on our guidelines, even though some of us can see, is you've all done well that you put your names there, your full names, but I'd also like to have the date. So what is this, 8/29/18, the time we submitted, which is what, 6:50 p.m., and your name and the assignment. While I'm doing this, you can correct your own. Later on during the class time, you can correct your own. So it's great here. So I have here date, time, name, and the name of the assignment. Not a big deal. And then I can see here I have, and at this point, what I'd like you to do is submit it or create it as an item. So when I do build content, you see here I have item and file. I'd like you to use item because on the item, not only do I have the name, but I have this space to write out a description of what I've submitted. What I want to do is when I use create item, I can then create that as an item so I can have the name of the assignment, and in this part, this is what I'm going to put, the date, the time, the name, the assignment, and then in this text part, I can have a description of what I've submitted. So for instance, Roy here has it, this part, well, so he can already have, you see this, Emma, the difference between here? He already can put this here, right, Emma? And we were never born with this. We're just trying to do some guidelines here. We can talk about the pros, 10-minute video. Can I only do screencast 10 minutes at the limit? Roy?
Yeah.
So then put in here limit 10 minutes. Okay, here you may want to do what type of file format is it? You may want to put what type of file format is it? 50 what? 50 a month for free, 50 videos, is that? And do I upload it or does it get it stored?
My bad, I didn't know you wanted so detailed.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing right now. You've done a great job, right? But I'm just adding with it that 50 a month for free is it that 10 minute. You can even change it now. Easy to use via Chrome. Can I use other browsers? Why that easy to use via Chrome? It only uses Chrome?
It's like an add-on, yeah.
Okay, so then,
We all did like the same one.
okay. So you all did the same the same what's the program?
I think we did.
Reading something.
I did.
What is it called?
Um,
So you never put the name here.
if you click on it, you'll see.
I did.
Okay, so basically, everybody see the problem?
They're all the same, yeah.
They're not all the same because you used a different one, right? They're not all the same, right?
Yes, let me look it up.
Look it up.
Just click on my name, you can watch the video.
Okay, I don't want to watch the video right now. I'll do it when I have extra time to see you, okay? When I'm missing you, then I can see you or hear your voice or whatever. So basically, you want to put the name of the program, right? And then in the cons, not unlimited time, screen record, time, water. Okay, so there's a free version and a paid version. So this is what you want to do. So both of you, so you need to go back then and actually put what is the name. A lot of times even not only the name of the software, put in the URL, the address, so you can basically click on it and somebody else can find it. My purpose here, Roy, is not to create extra work. My purpose is the opposite. When others are going to be reviewing it, they can quickly see it in bullet points. And then the difference here is, you see, Roy, this icon is different from this icon. Do you see that? What's the difference? Who can tell me?
One's probably a file, the other one's like a...
Right. These are items and this one's a file. So you don't want to upload these types of assignments as files, just because you won't be able to see that description outward, and then everybody has to go into it to see what you have. Make sense, Emily?
I'm fixing it.
Okay, so you're fixing it now.
If you update it, I think
Okay,
it's,
fine. Right. Okay, yes,
If
Kelly.
you're putting the URL in, I attach one as like a web link, but if you do it as an item, do you just put the URL in the
Yeah, you
text
can-
description?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
do that and then you can link it, yeah, good. Okay, so if I go to group 2, I have the screencasting so I can see, just so we can have the quick time. So I got in Nico, where's Nico?
Yeah, right here.
Okay, so Nico, we got it already good, we got the quick time, we just need that, and then he even has the link. So add to it the time that you did here, and then you got the pros and cons. And even a lot of times on these pros and cons, I would put them as bullet points. Just so it's easy. Don't you feel it, that when you look at it, you don't feel like reading all those things, you just want to do it. But we got it, and then Corey, where's Corey? You got the idea, you need to upload it. You can even do it now, right? You can upload it in the same fashion as Nico, it can help you, and Ty, where's Ty? Okay, same idea, so even you can do it now. Why waste time? That's what I say, right? Use our time valuably rather than looking at our phone and looking at Facebook and our images, okay? Group 3, same idea, I can do screencasting, everybody got that part, and the same, okay? So we got that, everybody understand, and then the link, we got it, beautiful. Okay? And then anyone else I want to see here? We got the idea, and then Faith here. Faith says you should be, old time on this, no? Faith. Okay, and the screen here, and then just do the dates. Why do I want the dates? It's because a lot of times, what's the whole idea, Sean, of Agile, is after we do one version, we'll have a second version. So sometimes even we'll get like version 1, version 2, version 3, and the idea with versions, sometimes we've messed up on the second version, we always have like a backup, we can go to the backup here, okay? And then we can do here on Jing, and then I got the text, so where's the file itself, Sean? Sean O'Neill, where's Sean O'Neill? Here? Whose is this? Okay, the screencast here, okay? Where's Lorna? Lorna, so where's the file itself that you did?
I didn't like download, I kept trying to download it. That was like one of my cons.
Okay, so then find one that you can download, right? So, because then the assignment's not doing it. This doesn't work, but what are you going to work? Because the whole purpose of having a file is to share that file. And if you next week work on something, Lorna, and then you say, I had problems here. I said, well, then share the file with your group and others. You can't do it. So redo it and say couldn't find the file or something, then find something else, right? And put the name of the file that you have. So in this case, something like this. So this is working here. Okay, the same thing, and Sean is not here? He's not in your group, or what? Okay, so you want to reach out to him as well, the same idea, okay? And another point here, when you submit Agile development, means you can work as a group then, give everybody feedback, so when we come to the class, we don't have to do this again. So you should be reviewing your work and reviewing your group's work. So in Roy, you can help those people in your group, and they can help you when you're having problems. So you should be checking each other's group work, and Lorna, your other ones is click on their video and see if their video is working. See if their video clip is working. See if you can hear sound. See if you can hear their videos. So everybody understand? So when we're going to work in groups, we'll see that task and we'll evaluate each other's task. Great. So we got Faith, we got group 5, which is John, right? John, you can do that. And then who is this? Who is Kaylee? Okay, so help Kaylee, John, in getting this up and running. Okay? You only have 2 people in your group?
I think we got 3.
Where's the third? The third didn't upload anything, right? So that's one of the things that we want to do. It doesn't look like that. Okay, so here group 6. Screencasting. You can work on it now. Kelly, right? This video describes.
Oh, I'm changing that now.
Okay, oh good. Okay, Danielle, right, is you want to put the name of the screencasting final. And Gabrielle, what did you use, Gabrielle? Screencasting-o-matic. So you want to basically, in that title, put the title of what, instead of screencast, where's Gabrielle? Gabrielle, instead of screencast, put the name of the file, the program that you're using. Okay? Perfect. What's next? This way we can work group 6. And group 7, I'm just doing this for this one day just to make sure, since we're doing that. We got the screencast. So this screencast is by Elvia. Where's Elvia? Okay. So Elvia, we got this perfect, okay? And then Cindy, okay, everything's easy when we know it. And then we got 2, how many people in your group? 3, so we want to put them all in the same folder.
Yeah, I'm fixing it.
Right, good. That's the beauty, isn't it? So just fix it. Okay, and then what do we have here? I've done this. I've done William. William, you can help your group, right? You can kind of be their leader here. So we got William and Yamin. Okay, we only have 2 people as well.
We have 3.
3, but,
Okay, but 2 did the work, so later on in another week or so, we can maybe combine groups, we'll see who, can take me, huh? And who said that enough is enough. Okay, so I got Sean and Dev. Do we have Dev? Where are you, Dev? Oh, you're always in the corner, Dev. Okay. So we got, so you're always hiding from me. Okay, so we got the Sean and we got the Dev. Good, perfect. I don't know about perfect. It's an exaggeration. I haven't looked at it well, but it looks like you got that part. Okay. So I think everybody did it, and then I got Liz, Kyle, and Monica. Okay. Kyle, where's Kyle? Is he not here?
He's not.
Okay, so you want to then basically reach out to Kyle and see if he's still part of the class and make sure that it works well. So this way, and then Chelsea, what do we got here? Ricky, screencast software. So put Easy Vid, okay. And then Chelsea, and then we only have 2 here too. Okay, questions? We got that part. Done? So the next part, once we get the screencast, so what's the purpose of screencasting and how can it help in a healthcare environment? Everybody understand the question? What's the question? Yami, what's the question? Did you hear the question?
No.
Okay. Who heard the question? Okay, James, what's the
so
question?
basically, how can screencasting help in healthcare?
Mhm.
You want me to answer it?
If you can.
I think, well, as medicine is going, especially in telehealth, you can see that we're using a lot of like web interfaces to pretty much break down any physical barriers with patients. So there's some procedures and even stuff like that that patients can not only look at their doctor and the doctor look at their patients with a webcam, but they can also instruct them with dealing with maybe drug dosage and stuff like that. They could show them charts to educate the patient in a better way.
You could basically use digital, also for training. Yami, remember how much training Yami's worked at the medical school, right? In terms of electronic health records and the basic and compliance, in terms of just training your staff on how to use a lot of the software, how to use the systems. Isn't it easy to use, even if you had a physical class, it's easy to doze off, right? I sometimes doze off, I'll go like this, and if I snore, you'll just wake me up, But otherwise, it's easier just to move, or you don't remember everything, so it's a way to document your work. If you have problems, it's a way to document your work, and also, if things work out, you know how to do something, James, you can then share your solution with other people. You can then send it, you can upload it. Okay? Questions? So that's the idea. Now, how do I want you to use screencasting? Is we're going to look at a lot of different software programs, a lot of different assignments, and when you get stuck, just to come back the following week and say it didn't work for me, what would I want you to do, Danielle?
I'm not sure.
Who has an idea? I give you a homework assignment for software, Kelly, and what would I want you to do?
You could look at other people in your group and like listen to each other's and help each other.
Well, basically, you first want to document where you had problems with. So if you had a software problem, what's the basic idea is to take that screencasting software, record where you had the issues. Like somebody would be able to see here, Kyle wasn't here today, you could just show them, you could record then how to use an item, how to fill out an item, rather than just telling them or just say, do what I did, or look at my notes. So you can create that, you can solve that with screencasting. Now along with that is many times we want to either communicate with our patients, we want to communicate with the staff, and we want to communicate with the team. So for us to do this for next week's assignment then, along with basically, you can even correct this week, but along with it, in terms of agile development, is what I want you to be able to look for is web conferencing software. And the cost is free. It's a way to work virtually with your group. That's what we'll be doing in class, and later on look at collaborating with my patients, collaborating with my staff, collaborating with other people, experts around the world. It's different than just individually screencasting my screens. You understand? But what I want, the criteria, so what you should be able to look for now is for next week, I want you to find, just like you did screencasting programs, I want you to use web conferencing software programs. And this is the criteria what I want you to be able to do. I want you to be able to have the web conferencing program to be able to record the session, also to be able to archive the session. I want you to be able to have participants in the session. Sometimes you'll be able to have viewers versus participants. The difference when I say viewers is the viewers can hear in live time. Participants actually can talk and share it. I want you to look at the difference if they have a free version. Many of them have a free version and they have a paid version. Just put in the differences between the free versus the paid. Sometimes, just like you said before, in the free in this one, it had like a 5-minute session, or it had a limit, or it had a 10-minute limit. Here it may be free for, let's say, 20 participants. Sometimes time is an essence. Some of these web conferencing software also allows you to do remote logins. And what do I mean by that? Basically, let's say Chelsea was on her screen and she says, I'm having problems installing this program. For instance, William, she could give permission to William to go into her screen and to actually take over her mouse and use her screen. Huh? What? There's a number of them out there that you can do. There's one that's called Team Viewer. Anybody hear about them?
Yes.
Yeah, Team Viewer is a popular one that is a German company that does it. Another web conferencing program you may want to look at is Zoom. Zoom is great. It has great audio and video. And Zoom, you has a free version and another one. So for the assignment for next week, what I'd like you to do is each of you find one similar that you did with the screencast, but the difference is that you'll try it out as a group. Because that's the whole idea. And which group will you try it out with? Your virtual group. So, do you have to physically be together? No. And that's the beauty. It's better that you're not in the same room, right? That you can meet if you want physically, but you want to try it out, each of those, and have your session, record your session so you can go through the same steps as you did the screencasting of what were the pros and the cons, and upload it as an item and put those criteria. And then every week when we have sessions here, this is a way in which you can record your group work. By virtually, has anybody, when you have it this way, you can virtually record that this person never showed up to any of the group meetings, right? Remember, have you ever had those groups, right, that they want the same grade as you did, but they never showed up anywhere? Well, let's look at all our meetings that we've recorded and archived. Or I gave some great ideas why, they didn't like me. They rejected me, right? I gave these great ideas and they didn't do it, or it's by it. And also it's a way to document your work. And can we use it in healthcare? Of course we can. All the time educating the patients, right? Even having patients together with the same problems, talking about it. One of the things that we want now is the Men's Institute. They're going to start a Men's Institute here at the university for men talking about their health problems. And do men, compared to women, like to go to the doctor? More or less? Less. So one of the things is they're saying, hey, in case they don't want to go, right, because all of those guys are macho, right? They don't want to talk about it. Maybe in the way that they can, we can reach out in some other ways. And if they don't want to show their face, right, they're talking about some kind of issue, they don't even have to, they can show some avatar, just even blank out their face. And if it's really bad, I don't want to even do it, we can give one of those voice disguises, you know what I mean, that you don't even understand. Or they can chat or something like that. But that's what, so I had a urologist who was in my class a couple of years ago, and that's what that's what the group did for his project, is set up a Men's Institute, basically setting up a website, setting up a mobile app, setting up web conferencing for ways for guys to talk and to break it down, in age group, in different types of problems, issues, and they can feel it comfortable, and they say, hey, I don't want to spend it, and it's also, I don't want to spend that time, to do it. So you can think about so many different things in terms of healthcare, in terms of anybody studying physical therapy, or, right, in terms of physical therapy, think about all those ways in which you have I go to a physical therapist, and what happens? I'm there, and they tell me all these exercises, and they say, go home and do it, and how do you know if I'm doing it right? This way you can basically, when you're with another patient, I can be a third patient from remotely, and then you can get patients throughout the world. Have a bad back or something, you can have patients doing those exercises, you can see those exercises, then you can do two-way, and then you can see me and you say, hey, I'm doing it all wrong, I'm really doing the worst thing for my back, not the best, I should be arching, I shouldn't be arching, right, I'm bending wrong, should be bending from the knees. So things that are physical, health is really great for this, right, all those things that I can see as part of it. I'm giving you ideas in terms of your projects too, that you can take some of this technology and use it for your projects. Questions? So everybody understand what the project, taking that same one in, you see that, John, in agile development, and before class then, all of you in the class then have checked everybody's work within your group and given them feedback on it. So we don't have to spend this time, I want to spend this time not to make sure, and also to bring us along, yes.
So we're doing 3 different things?
Yeah, three different web conferencing, and then you can each of you try it out on your own, but it doesn't do as well, and then you can do them as 3, right? And then you can choose the best one.
Okay.
You can basically say, hey, we found this is the best because X, Y, Z, or they all have advantages and disadvantages.
So when we're uploading, do you want like one file, or you want 3 different ones again?
3 different ones.
Okay, and then the file would be the archive from the conference, or do you want us to like screencast the video?
You'll see based on how it works. You may want to do both.
Okay, alright.
You could look how we're speaking, right? It's great. We're really coming along just in a week, right? You could even even if one's recording, you could get another screencast on top of that, right? So you could even use a screencast of your video, because some of those videos, what they do is they're proprietary file formats that you can't see. So if you're using something like TeamViewer, a couple of you used TeamViewer before, right? You could even then screencast with another program, TeamViewer, because TeamViewer has its own proprietary item. Because you want to be able to share it. If you're not able to share it, it doesn't do us any good. Yes? Everybody understands the assignment? Perfect. So this way we get our hands wet that we can use these tools throughout the semester. Every week you work with your group here, and then you can come, and something's not coming out, you can even come to me in the middle and say, hey, we got documentation here, it's not working out with this person. And either that person, they can work with another group, or we'll find some issues here. But cut it off early rather than waiting to week 13, and we have to do our presentation, and we got miscommunication. And ways to give each other's feedback in a positive way. And that's what I'm always saying is we're collaborating and learning how to be team leaders and learning how to give each other feedback and to make it successful, that when you read it after a week, you know what it is, that you don't have to say, I don't remember what that name of that program is. I don't even know what they've done here. I can't do it. Okay? And it makes it easy that you don't have to physically be with each other. So Yami, you're working, right? And then you can say, even in lunch hour, you can work with your group, right? You're not going to be traveling, you working in here.
I work across the street.
Across the street, but whatever. So you can take as you're doing on your phone. Okay, everybody clear to me. So research that, and then we can proceed. Okay, I'm finished with my audit area. Let me go to my regular area. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to go, if you don't mind, I'm going to go straight through without a break and then end early. How's that? Because once we start taking a break, we all kind of get straggled and we lose it, and then it takes longer. I'd rather, like that short little... I'm really good in shorter distance running than I am long, okay? So let's go to the regular section, okay? So let me do a couple of things in our regular section that I didn't have time, again, to see. You see where I am? Everybody with me? And if you're not, share with your neighbor. We talked about the syllabus already. Those that have come late can check out the syllabus and check with your group. Do you have a group? Yes. Okay. So who has only 2 people in their group? Okay. Sean, and who are you with, Sean? Deb, okay. Would you like to take him on? What is your first name? Isaiah. You want to take him on? Okay. So, great. So you know what you may want to do then? Isaiah, move over to Sean, and then he can help you out, and later on he can put you in a group, right, as a user and so forth, okay? So you can be there with your group. All right. Course document. In course document, we're in the wager. The author has kindly accepted an invitation to come talk with us. She's in South Carolina in a medical school, and I'm going to have her come in. She can't fly down, so what's a good way is I'm going to host her virtually, and we'll host some people virtually. We'll have other people that will host physically here. In the next couple of weeks, we'll have some people that will host as well. So let me go into wager here. I'll download the PowerPoint and we'll talk about a couple of texts that will open. And let me close the other one. Enable editing. So we have this PowerPoint. I want to close this one. And then, the other thing that I wanted to show you is web links. Go to the web links. Some things you see that I don't. We talked about already. This is the book. We talked already about comparison of screencasting program. This is a I'll talk about these later on. These are like macro recorders that kind of do. Anybody hear about a bot? B-O-T? Type in what a bot is. What do you get? Yes, Ricky.
It's like a simulated user that kind of pretends to be a real person on the web.
Possibly. What else? What else is a bot? Yes, Chucky.
On Google it says internal parasite of animals.
But let's do software bot. Yes.
It's a software application that runs automated tasks over the internet. It's like a type of spyware.
It could be not. Could be in stealth mode. Everybody know what stealth means? Hidden, or it can be outright. But basically, read it again.
It's a software application that runs
Software application that runs what?
automated tasks.
Okay.
Over the internet.
Over the internet. A task over the internet. Anybody hear about, it'll perform tasks with software. So if you're doing a task each time on the internet, on your computer, what's a nice way is if you create a bot, a software bot, is it will go through those steps automatically. Now I can have bots, Ricky, that are malicious, that pretend to be a user. So have anybody ever seen that CAPTCHA where you have to type in those letters and you never kind of quite know what those letters are and those numbers, right? Why do they do that? They think bots cannot read that. They think bots can already read that. So they make you feel better, right? It's the way in which bots can act as a user to basically fill out forms. Now we'll talk about security and so forth. That's when you're on the internet and you're typing in like your user IDs or you're typing in your credit cards, that software can then grab it, right? And even, when I'm having my username and my ID, you see my password with those little asterisks over it, as if you can't see it. The bots can read what's behind that. So you can have as well. So this JITBit recorder, we'll cover it later on. William, you may want to look at that in the way that this JITBit recorder is, if I'm doing something over and over again, I'll have software do it rather than a human do it. Now I have another link here, which is called Health IT Gov. So everybody click on that. So, what is Health IT Gov? Any ideas? This is gonna be an important website for you to go to. Who's it sponsored by?
Government.
Which government?
Office of the Secretary.
Yeah, Office of the Secretary, it's U.S. Government, Office of the Secretary, right, and Health.
Department of Health and Human Services.
Department of Health and Human Services. And the head of the Department of Health and Human Services used to be, a long time ago, also the president of the University of Miami that just won, I guess, what did she won, the Democratic primary, right, for Donna Shalala. So, look at the topics here in this Health IT Gov. Certification of Health IT, Clinical Quality and Safety, O&C. You remember what I told you about all those acronyms? What does this acronym stand for? Just type it in your list, you know what I mean? When you get your list, even make yourself like a little list on your computer of
Office of National Coordinator for Health Information Technology.
right, so why do I have to waste the time for you to memorize that, right? So just jot it down. But the O&C here is part of the government then that gives funding opportunities. Health, IT, and Health Information Exchange Basics. What did we say was the problem with healthcare? Yami, was the idea of exchanging information from one area to another. So that's a lot of times the acronym for that is, guess what? Health Information Exchange is what? Cindy? Health Information Exchange, the acronym is HIE. So you'll see HIE, so put them in your list, you know what I mean? I don't want to waste your time and your brain cells to memorize this. So Health IT and Care, Health IT Resources, right? What else? Interoperability, remember we talked about that last week, right? Patient access to medical, privacy, security, and HIPAA. Remember we talked about that HIPAA, right? We're going to do laws, scientific initiatives, standards, and usability provided. So these are areas in which the government has those topics. How do I do it? Right, blog news about the O&C, what's new. You can see that. So that's an important site to have. Another site to have is what we call HIMSS organization. HIMSS organization is a global not-for-profit organization based on better health through information and technology. And here I want to emphasize to you, there's a lot of hoopla on all this health tech. And what I'm telling you is this should be the key, that I should have better health through information and technology, not mediocre. Because a lot of people are stuffing in a lot of tech, and is it going to make the population and the individual any healthier? And that's their efforts for engagement. And what's great about this organization is they have some of the largest conferences in the world basically on health IT. They have one in Orlando. And why am I telling you this? Is they have a chapter which is local to South Florida called the HIMSS South Florida. And I'll invite them to the class to talk about their organization, but also to talk about healthcare. And in the past, they've given out a free scholarship to our students to attend this conference. All expenses paid. Nice, right? So maybe they'll give it to us this year. They didn't give it to me, but they gave out to one of their students. So you can see, if I look at the topics, right, if I look at their home professional development, right, I can see in the news, you can see the same idea. You can see that they have their get involved in their news and so forth. You can just see the same thing on Life Journey to Public Health, and you can look at that site. That's important. The other site that I want you to look at is, you see this mobile app news? Let me see here. You can get some ideas from this site on what's happening now in healthcare, all on mobile apps. And if, later on, you can even put some of these links here that you can see that large companies, old companies, you can see here, Philips Healthcare Inc.'s deal with U.S. military for remote monitoring technology. The wearable sensors allow clinicians to monitor then, what are they talking about? Monitor then multiple wounded military personnel at the same time through a smartphone or a tablet. Can you imagine? If you're in the field there in Afghanistan, God forbid, you know what I mean? Monitoring those wounded at the same time, you know? Watch out, you know, study results, approval of diagnostic algorithms, but experts remain wary, you know? Data analytics, we'll be talking about that. So these three links are important. The other part, if we go back, is this one on meaningful use. And notice in meaningful use, you had that in your first chapter, right? Yes? No? So what is meaningful use and who cares? So here, meaningful use, and look how many acronyms we have. CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, provides incentives to encourage eligible clinicians to use health IT, most notably certified electronic record technology, makes it possible for clinicians to submit information electronically to CMS in a format CMS can process. So what the heck is meaningful use? Who knows? Who has an idea? Yes, yeah.
I think it's like criteria that are set, and then there's different levels, and once the institution reaches it, they get different incentives for reaching those different meaningful use levels.
Okay. What do you think, Jen?
Yeah, kind of like what she said, but it's just like a government standard that ensures that the hospital or the medical institution is actually implementing the technology.
Okay. Healthcare in the United States, healthcare sources were very slow to digitize their data. Healthcare organizations in the United States were very slow to share their data. And healthcare entities in the United States, from very small practitioners to larger institutions, didn't set a standard, didn't have overwhelming standards. So what the government wanted is to have a way to improve the well-being of its citizens, and also the way to improve it is by what we call evidence-based medicine. And what is evidence-based medicine? That the practices that I, as a healthcare provider, do are based on scientific evidence and studies rather than just doing studies, rather than just doing procedures. So for instance, it may be that there's no evidence that women under 40 should be getting a mammogram every year. That it doesn't prolong life, that you may not be able to detect cancerous tumors via, let's say, mammograms. Just making an example. But but it's been like a given, that's what we do every year. Or it may be for men, PSA testing didn't prevent prostate cancer. So it may be evidence-based, or it won't be able to distinguish. So this was what meaningful use is. And so what the government says is, if you get electronic health record software available in your institution or in your way, we want to make sure that you're using it in a meaningful way. Just like I say, technology should make healthcare better, you should be using the data in a meaningful way. So what is happening here is they're having incentives to use that, and they're dividing it up into stages. So let me go back to our PowerPoint. And let me go to our slideshow. And if we look at the history, is we have something called IOM, which stands for what? Institute of Medicine, and then we had the Institute of Medicine, and then we had in the 1990s, we basically, that's not that long ago, they basically said, healthcare, you better get on the ball. You better be like the banks, right? Have you ever gone to a bank and they told you, wait a minute, hold on, let me go in the back room and find your balance? Right, let me go into the papers here and let me find your balance. Let me see here, Isaiah. Give me your ID number and I'll find how much you owe, right? And wait a while and I'll give you some money. Right, are you crazy? So in the 2000 to 2010, there became the High-Tech Act that became with Obama, and then there were some healthcare reforms, and basically there became the idea of interoperability, meaning I'm going to be able to share my data among different organizations. So we have here, this is with Clinton, right, with Bill Clinton and Shalala coming up with this Health Insurance Portability and Accounting Act. It's kind of like that secrecy, that way in which to keep things sacred, to the idea of the High-Tech Act that came along with Obama, to Medicare access, and basically there became this idea of what we call payment programs of value-based. In the past, physicians were reimbursed by the procedures they did. So you came in, Isaiah, right? And we gave certain blood tests, and we gave certain procedures, we then can charge. So my incentive as a physician is to do more procedures or less? More procedures. Are all those procedures really gonna make you healthier? We don't even know, right? But creating them. What happened is there's now an incentive, what they call merit-based incentive payment system that providers will get payments based on their performance. If I get you healthier, that's where I'm going to be getting my performance. So one of the things, for instance, they have now, for instance, let's say we have a patient with heart disease. And based on their qualification, the government will say to a hospital, I'll give you, let's say, this is just an example, I'll give you $100,000 to treat that patient. And I want to rest assured that that patient won't come back to the hospital in the next 30 days. If you can get that patient healthy, Isaiah, for $50,000, you keep the extra $50,000. I'm incentivizing you to help that patient the most efficient way there is. What it used to be is I go ahead and cut, great-grandmother, right? We basically cut her open, right? She goes back home, gets an infection, she comes back, oh, we'll do another procedure. The government, the provider was not getting penalized for that. They were just saying what? We'll charge for another procedure. And how they're being able to do it, if you're 65 and over in the United States, there's Medicare, so who pays for that? The government pays for it. So they started with those things on Medicare, and who's my sickest population? Are people not younger, people that are older. So this is where the costs are for the government, and you'll see that the United States pays per capita person more than any other country in the world for health care. And they do not get the best results. So money just doesn't buy everything, right? Love is in the air, okay? So what you'll see here is their performance on quality, on improvement, resources, and giving that. And it's a change of looking of how that comes about. So what's your question?
I was gonna say, like, how does that work? So you kind of explained it, but it's like after the procedure, it was like 30 days about the quality. Do they like send you something like, oh, how did your doctor treat you? Have you gotten better in the past 30 days? And
well, for one is that they're going to be monitoring it.
Okay.
2, you're going to get monitoring. And 3, when you come back to the hospital, that's being jotted down. So if your grandmother comes back in 20 days, they say, okay, you know what? We're not giving you any more money. You're going to treat her, and it's going to be on your dime.
I got you.
Hospital, yes.
And for different specialties, they have different rules for measuring quality and stuff.
Yes.
It's not like one size fits
Right.
all.
I think they have something called PQRS
Right.
that is based off of the documentation. The doctor has to document certain measures, and that's how they determine if the doctor did a quality job.
Yeah, so you basically have certain, and it's basically like that evaluation, almost like I always said, that an agile development where I'm testing each time, I'm going through each process to do it. Now, we'll talk about this later on and put this in your notes here, there's something called interoperability organization, and there's something called HL7. So put that acronym there. So HL7 basically is a way, it's like a code, and I'll go into it more in detail, but it's a way in which I can code my data that everybody can read it. And we'll talk about some other ones, consortium, Commonwealth, consortium of IT vendors. Okay, interoperability, we'll talk about it more. Summary here. And what I wanted to do here is in your, go back to your Blackboard and go to web links. Everybody in web links, right? And I want you to go to the area right after that, which says health benefits of health IT, and you'll see here the benefits of, they're basically trying to then, the benefits of that health record information. And let me put this in here. If I type here, meaningful use, you'll see again what you're talking about, the shift to then this meaningful use, the shift to what we call merit-based incentive payment systems. So it's at this point where you have incentives to get all the information from my patients, and then I'll be able to do data analytics about the population of my data. So this is the key. And put this in your notes. The purpose of meaningful use, and put this, Faith, you want to just text or something like that, or write down if you need to speak to your neighbor. Thank you. So in this case here, the purpose of meaningful use, and you can write this down, is to improve quality,